Hey guys, it's Brad, the Probate House Guy. So I'm reshooting this video because I shot the whole thing and realized my microphone wasn't working. Go figure. I should probably do a test, right? Either way, so what does it cost to flip a manufactured home? If you follow my YouTube channel, you saw the two most recent videos. I did a walkthrough of both manufactured home flips that we just finished up. We're actually selling one of them, Saddle Court. We are selling it. We just got a clear to close this morning. We're closing today's Tuesday. When I'm making this video, we're closing on Thursday morning at 11 a.m. and just got the clear to close. So yay. So we're selling that one. That was a very profitable deal. And I'll go through the numbers here in just a second. And then Scott Brown Road is the other one I did a walkthrough. That one's out in Fairmount, Georgia, and that one's still on the market. Haven't had a buyer for that. It's a little bit more out there, so it's going to take a little bit longer to sell that. And I'm actually probably the nicest house in that area for the best price. If you look at what's on the market in that Fairmount area, that's what I'm going for right now, is like biggest bang for your buck, which is what buyers are looking for right now. And then we actually just bought another manufactured home a couple weeks ago. And the sellers actually just moved. We gave them a temporary occupancy for a couple weeks so they could move into their new house. And they just moved out yesterday. So we're going to get started on that project. I will probably go over there tomorrow and do a walkthrough video of it and walk you guys through a little bit different scope of work. I thought I had a buyer for it. They were wanting to buy it as is, but it needed a little bit more work than what they thought they could handle. So they decided last night that they weren't interested in it anymore, and that's fine. So we'll go ahead and rehab it, and I'll go and fill you in on that project. That one's a 1985 double wide in Cumming, Georgia. If you know anything about Cumming in Forsyth County, super, very desirable. And ARV on that one is closer, for an 85 double wide, is closer to $300,000. Pretty wild, huh? So we're going to be rehabbing that one. I'll go through those numbers with you later. So let me jump in here and show you. We're going to do a little before pictures of each project. And then I did a walkthrough video of the after. So I'm just going to zoom through the after picture. So here's before and after. So let me jump over here. So this is Scott Brown Road before. As you can see here, this is before. I'll start at the end. This is the bathroom. They had put this vinyl plank down in the bathroom, so it wasn't that old wallpaper, frilly, old lady stuff. That's all pee on the walls. It was nasty. Old man, I guess, just peeing all over the walls or something, and then that was his little seat in the shower. This is the kitchen. Again, I mentioned this vinyl tile floor. I didn't really care for the look and the color of it, so we actually laid new stuff right over top of this, but it was actually all in good shape. It was only like 2 years old, but I just didn't care for the color. As you can see here, this is the kitchen. Really was not in that bad a shape, just pretty dated, but it did need some work. As you can see on the outside, roof needed to be replaced. This was the original roof from like 2001, so that 3-tab shingle was pretty long in the tooth there for a 3-tab. We did replace some skirting. All the skirting was damaged. We ripped this janky deck off the back of it. This thing, I didn't even want to walk on it when I went over there, and they recommended not walking on it. As you can see, it was pretty overgrown and not the best built deck. So we ripped all that off. Plus, when you're flipping manufactured homes, this is a big no-no to have this stuff attached to the house like this. A lot of times they'll make you rip that down in terms of inspection. And this is the AI note-taking feature in when you're taking pictures in Company Cam. I did another video. I talked about Company Cam. We use that to take all of our pictures. You can do a lot of cool stuff with Company Cam. I'm not going to get into it in this video, but it has a lot of robust features. This is what we use to take all our pictures of projects. You can do punch out all the things, and it has an AI note-taking feature. So it was actually listening to me and recording these notes. Kind of funny. This is the outside again. We replaced some skirting, lots of garden tchotchkes. All right, and this is the final product: new decks. This is the back deck, new skirting. We mowed all the grass. We power washed the whole thing. We painted everything: new flooring, new fixtures, new carpet, new LVP, new countertops, new appliances, new kitchen. I mean, everything kind of cosmetic inside. We did have to repair the floor in one room where it had a little leak rot spot. We cut that out, replaced it with a new section in the back bedroom there. But anyways, it turned out really, really nice. So this is the after. It came with a little carport on the front. This is on 2.5 acres out in Fairmount. Nice property. So let's dive into the numbers here on this one. So Scott Brown, what did it cost us to buy it? What did it cost to rehab it? All the above. So let's get into the numbers here. So we are going to go in here, and I'm going to go with acquisition price here. We paid $155,000 for the house. I bought this house from, basically the lead came from a friend of my mom's, a lady that's in Bible study with my mom, and she needed to sell her parents' house, and the house needed some work, and they just didn't really have the time, the money, whatever, to put into the house. They didn't really want to mess with it, so they just wanted a quick as-is cash sale. So I bought it for $155,000. Acquisition closing costs. The reason this is high is because I was at the same time I bought this one, I was buying another deal, and I was actually wholesaling that other deal to a hedge fund, and the hedge fund ended up backing out a couple days before closing. I had a backup buyer lined up, but my backup buyer was not able to close on the property until this all happened on like a Wednesday. And my backup buyer wasn't able to close until Monday. And I promised the seller that I was going to close and buy the house on Thursday. Okay. So we were about to buy this one, and this closing got delayed for Scott Brown. And the money from my private lender for this particular deal was already sitting at my attorney's account in the escrow account, waiting to close on this one. So I reached out to her and I said, hey, we had a little snafu with the other deal. Do you mind if we use the money from this deal to go ahead and close and fund that deal? So we used this money to buy the other house, basically floated that for a few days. And then when my buyer closed on Monday for the other deal, we then took this money and moved it back over to this transaction. But in the meantime, I had closed this deal too, like on Friday. And I needed some transactional funding for this deal because I took the money from this one to pay for the other one. And then I got some transactional funding from my closing attorney. He does transactional funding. So this includes like $1,000 basically fee for transactional funding. Actually, I think it was more than that. It was like $1,500 or something. $155. Yeah. So it's $1,500. He charges me 1 point. So $1,500 went to him. So really the acquisition closing cost was like $3,000 with all the, title insurance and all the stuff. So that's why that's a little bit higher on this one, because I ended up having to float some money around because I wanted to make sure I closed on the deal and did what I said I was going to do. So, and that's what we did. So either way, everything worked out in the end. It was all good. So I've got it currently listed at $269. This one's still for sale. It'll take a little bit longer to sell just because it's a little bit further out, smaller buyer pool. It's a little bit more rural. Right now, if it sells today, as of today, I'm projecting a $37,868 net profit on it at a $269 sale price, and that's assuming I'm paying closing costs to the buyer. As you can see here, I've already got them baked into my numbers here. $8,000 in commission, and then $8,000 to buyer closing costs. Let's get into rehab here. What did rehab cost? Okay, so paint. Labor only was $7,250. That included, we did some drywall repair work. That included some trim on the walls, and there was some door trim that needed to be repaired, and there was just a bunch of random miscellaneous, plus all the painting. We had to prime everything because all that wallpaper, I guess it's wallpaper, but like these manufactured homes kind of have this like pre-installed wallpaper on the paneling. That's kind of a pain in the butt to remove it. So what we usually do is we just prime everything, so that it's a little bit more expensive because we prime everything and then we paint. So that's included there. Paint materials from Sherwin-Williams, $1,492. We had to replace the roof on this. My buddy Corey with Contour Roofing did it, and he's done a few roofs for me. He did the roof of my personal house, done some of my flips. Good guy. And he's probably not the cheapest guy out there. I'm sure I can find a cheaper roofer out there. But I like doing business with Corey. He's a good guy. So pay him a little bit extra money just to work with a good guy. And he's kind of become a friend of mine over the years. We went with Owens Corning Duration shingle on this, which is a nicer shingle. It's the same shingle I have on my personal house, actually. He got a pretty good deal on it from his supplier. So he said, hey, he was going to go with a cheaper shingle, and his supplier's like, hey, I'll give you a deal on this duration if you buy, whatever, by this week. And he's like, sure, sounds like a deal. So anyways, we bought that. Deck materials from Magby Contractor Supply. I bought all the lumber and everything for all the decks from Magby. Anytime I'm doing any framing lumber stuff, I like to buy my framing lumber and everything. Trim, like if I'm doing a lot of trim, a lot of frame, I buy it through Magby. I have an account set up with them. It's just better quality stuff. Like all the deck is all yellow wood, which is good stuff, versus kind of the crap that you buy at Home Depot and Lowe's. Their pressure treated stuff's kind of junk. So I like to buy anything from Magby. Deck labor from the carpenter. This included demolishing the old deck or the old big porch on the back, and then building both the new back deck and the side deck, $3,100, which is actually a really good deal for that. Flooring, this was labor. This included labor to install all the LVP, the LVT, and this also included carpet labor and materials because we carpeted the 2 bedrooms in the back. So $3,550. My gutter guy, Tito, who's been doing gutters for me for a long time, replaced all the gutters on the house. And then he also replaced some fascia board that was damaged. So this includes the labor to replace the fascias too. We did a 6-inch gutter. He does a seamless gutter. He's got the machine in his trailer, and he, does the downspouts, and everything's formed and built on site. $1,554. Final touch up and exterior painting. So painted the front door, the trim, the exterior stuff, and then the final interior trim. That was $1,450. IBTS letter, we were missing the HUD data plate, which is pretty typical. So we had to get a replacement letter from IBTS. That's $125. Skirting materials, we replaced a bunch of skirting. I did this and saddle at the same time. So that I split the cost. We had $1,600 in skirting materials with the skirting, the beauty band, and the bottom track. We replaced a bunch of damaged stuff, and so that was $800. You'll see on the other property I also charged $800. I kind of split it between both of them, and I just noticed that I charged all the labor to do that over to the other property rather than to the. I should have split it between the two, but I just charged it to the other one. So you'll see that on the other one. Some fixtures, floor registers, and everything I bought for. This is basically just buying all that for. Both Scott Brown and this one, or this is Scott Brown and Saddle, $519. We had to get an engineer letter to get an FHA certification for the foundation so that it would be financeable. So we got that. That was $350. Miscellaneous materials, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to go through all that. New appliances from Lowe's. I buy all my appliances from Lowe's. I prefer to buy through them. Just better experience. I absolutely refuse to ever buy appliances from Home Depot ever again. Their appliance vendor is terrible, absolutely terrible. I like buying from Lowe's. I buy my appliances from Lowe's. $2,600 for stainless steel Frigidaire appliances. We did a fridge. We did a it's a side-by-side stainless steel fridge. We did a new range hood, and a new dishwasher. Flooring and toilets. That's the LVT flooring for the bathrooms that I bought through Lowe's. And I bought new toilets. American Standard is what I use for toilets. So I bought 2 new American Standard toilets. I was about, I think, $550 for toilets. So miscellaneous HVAC supplies. We had to... some of the underbelly of the home had gotten ripped, and then the insulation had fallen down on the main trunk line, and it was sweating into the crawl space, and you don't want that open. And so we fixed that. And then punch out supplies, doorknobs, blah, 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 just miscellaneous stuff. And then fixtures and flooring. This includes all of the LVP. So that white oak look LVP from Home Depot. all of the plumbing fixtures and all of the electrical fixtures, everything all combined into one. I did one big, huge order and had it delivered to the house. $5,100. Miscellaneous, blah, 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 paint supplies, granite, $3,500 for granite from M&M Marble and Granite, Holly and Corey. Shout out to them. They do a lot of marble and granite for me up in the northern kind of area, Cherokee County, kind of this area up here, Pickens County. They're based out of Ball Ground, Georgia. In fact, their shop, if you've ever seen the movie, I think it's like American Made or something. It's the one with Tom Cruise where he's the like pilot that like was trafficking drugs for the CIA or something. That was all filmed in downtown Ball Ground. Funny story. And the bank where he would always like go withdraw his money is literally right. Honestly, and ironically, that bank is a different business, but they had made it look like a bank. It's right across the street from in downtown Ball Ground from Corey and Holly's shop right there. So that's kind of cool, funny story. RDS Plumbing, that was my plumber. That's my new plumber. Roy, I found a new plumber, and I'll be using him. Roger, we'll be using him for a lot of future projects. Great guy. Turns out I got him as a referral from some friends of mine. My other plumber had retired, injured himself, and retired. So he's the guy does my northern projects in my northern areas. I've got another plumber that does kind of like southern projects, like South Atlanta and like that sort of stuff. So Roger's doing all my north side stuff now. He charged me $585 to install all of the plumbing fixtures. And then not including the toilets, though. I actually set the toilets because I was on a time crunch and I had painters coming in and we're in the middle of nowhere and they need to go to the bathroom and the floor. We had to pull the toilets to do the flooring and put new toilets. So I went and set the toilets myself. Electrical fixture trim out. So Mitch, my longtime electrician, trimmed out everything, devices, light fixtures, all that stuff, $745. Okay, so let's get into this stuff here. We had to get a title bond because there was a title issue, as always with these things, $682 for that. Insurance paid up through 9/15. They bill me like 90 days at a time, $795 for insurance on this. Commission to buyer's agent. So if I have to pay a buyer's agent, this is a broker fee to my broker. I'm an agent myself, so I don't charge myself a listing commission. I just pay a $500 fee per deal to my broker. And then I have an FMLS fee of $322.80 that I have to pay to FMLS. And let's see here, total interest. That number seems very high. I don't think that's right. So I'll have to go back and figure out what that is. That's too much money in interest for some reason. It should be less than that. But regardless, I'll figure that out. And then I'll have to pay $8,000 in buyer's commission. So again, right now we're projecting $37,000. Okay, so let's jump over to the other property here. Let's go to, I'll show you Saddle Court. This is the larger one and 127 Saddle Court Ball Ground. Okay. And then we're going to go here and then we're going to go to Saddle. Okay. So this is the other one. This is the bigger one. This was a probate one. We actually had to probate this one. It took a little bit longer to close. As you can see here, I took the pictures on March 14th, but we didn't close the deal until July because we had to wait for a probate. This house was in worse shape. You're probably like, why are you taking pictures of the ceiling? I know this one's a little blurry. I actually take pictures of the ceilings because I'm looking for water damage to the ceiling. So I go around and snap photos with my flashlight and I shine them on all the ceilings so that I can check for water damage, water spots, that sort of thing. So that's that. This was a smoker's house. So you can see the yellowing, the staining. When you took these pictures down, there was staining behind them. This one was, very old looking with the gold and the striped wallpaper and all the things, right? This house was like a dungeon, as I mentioned in the videos. You can see all the dark trim, This is the living room, super dark, red walls, red carpet, red this, dark trim. It just super, super dark. Yeah, he was like, this is a brand new bike assembling in the living room. And you can see this dripping, like that's from smoking in the house. And water and whatever. There was a roof leak there too. We fixed that. Yeah, this is kind of that other wall there. So either way, let's go here. And as you can see, it's just super dark. This was his office. Crazy enough, I didn't even know this. We threw all this stuff away. We had to go through quite a thing to get the titles on this thing. And the title paperwork for he had paid off the loan and they never released the lien. Anyways, the paperwork was in this file cabinet, he said, and we had thrown it all away because we trashed this whole house out. He had moved out of state. Yeah, that's blood on the floor, 100%, without a doubt. That's blood on the floor. I don't know where there's a knife. I promise no one was murdered in here. I don't know why there's a big giant steak knife in there and there's blood on the floor, but promise no one was hurt or injured. Maybe he hurt himself. Was an alcoholic, and this is blood on the bed. This is actually from him coughing up blood from a condition as an alcoholic. As you go into liver failure, you get esophageal varices, where basically you get these veins that grow around your esophagus, and then you start throwing up and coughing up blood, which these veins burst because your veins in your liver, the circulation and all the things, it's nasty. If you drink alcohol, I've stop drinking alcohol now. Like once you've seen someone go through liver failure, which I've seen it firsthand with a very close family member of mine, it ain't pretty, guys. It's not pretty. I'm not here to preach to you, but this is what happens. This came out of him. That is like legit, like part of his lung or something. I don't know. Pretty gross. The guy is still alive, still fine. He's been in rehab. He's been sober for 10 months now in a treatment facility. Good for him. Either way, this is a house before. Yeah, pretty nasty, gross toilet, right? No gross floor, gross shower. Yeah, all the above. Okay, so let's go to the after. So this is the after, totally overgrown lot. I mentioned it in the video. You couldn't even see the house from the road. Now you can see it from the road. New flooring, new paint. We had to do the whole smoke treatment. We're kills and paint and new fixtures and new granite and new this. Everything's new, right? Looks nice and pretty inside, right? New carpet in the bedrooms. We cleared out the back, all that stuff. I'll save you the details on that. Let's get into the rehab numbers on this. What does it really cost? Okay. So here we go. I only paid $100,000 for this house. This is bigger than Scott Brown, but got a really good deal on it. Again, we had to probate it. We bought it as is. He had moved out of state. He was the original owner of this house. His wife died. Like I mentioned, we had to probate the thing, and he was delinquent on the house and all the things. So I bought it for $100,000. $2,700 in acquisition and closing costs. That's attorney's fees, title, insurance, all the things. Holding selling costs, $18,000. Rehab costs, we spent $56,932 rehabbing the place. As you saw the before and you saw the after. I'll get into the numbers here in a second. We sold it, we haven't technically sold it yet, but like I mentioned, we have a clear to close. We'll be closing here in 2 days. So we're closing on Thursday morning. So it seems to be all set there, hopefully. Again, we got the clear to close, so I think we're good. And that I'm projecting now $243,000 profit. Went a little bit over budget. I'd originally budgeted about $50,000 on rehab, went over that. So I would have made over $100,000 had I not go over rehab budget, but that's okay. I'll take 94 all day long and twice on Sunday. So let's go into the numbers here in terms of what it costs to rehab. Paint labor, that includes doing some drywall repair, blah, 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 some trim repair, also priming the whole house. We had to prime the house twice. This was a smoker's house, so we did 2 coats of oil-based kills. So we basically painted the house twice and then painted it again for the third time to actually paint it. $7,950. $2,000 in materials from Sherwin-Williams. I had to do a roof repair on this. We had to replace a vent, replace a couple shingles, replace a boot, seal some stuff up, whatever. So Corey went over there, charged me $650 to fix that. New appliances from Lowe's, $2,764. Again, kind of same deal as Scott Brown: fridge, range, dishwasher, range hood, all that stuff. Flooring materials came from Lowe's. Spent a little bit more on flooring than I normally would. I just liked this flooring better, and they had it in stock, and I needed it quickly, so I paid a little bit more. I could have ordered some stuff from somebody else, but Lowe's had this in stock, so we went with this. $4,153 for the flooring. Flooring labor from Tavares Floors was $5,500. That also included, we carpeted all of the bedrooms. So this includes material and labor for the carpet and all the labor to install all of the LVP, the LVT in the bathrooms, remove all of the old flooring, and do all the quarter round. So $5,500 for all of that. I'm sure there's a flooring guy that can do it cheaper. I like my flooring guy. He's super reliable, super responsive, charges me a reasonable price. A lot of flippers like, oh, I got a cheaper guy. Guys, I'm going to fill you in on something. Stop chasing the cheaper guy. You're just creating more heartache and stress for yourself, because I can guarantee you that cheaper guy's not going to be around very long. There's other issues that come with that. Don't just look at the price. There's a lot more to it than that. So countertops, there's a lot more counters in this kitchen. So again, Holly with M&M Marble and Granite, Holly and Corey did the counters for me here. $4,650 for all the granite. That's a level 1 granite there. I do have a guy that'll do granite for me a little bit cheaper that does a lot of my projects closer to City of Atlanta, South Atlanta, East of Atlanta, all that stuff. But when I'm working up here in the Cherokee Pickens County area, I like to use Corey and Holly. They're good people. I enjoy working with them. They're nice to work with. They're just really good people. I like to support them. Does it cost me a little bit extra money to use them? Sure, it does. But I like to maintain that relationship over time. They did all the quartz in our house. I've been using them for my flips for years, and they did all the quartz in our house, and it turned out really great. So yeah, the granite in my house was $10,000 for all the quartz in our house. So, anyways, final touch-up and labor from Angelito's Painting, which is my painter Raul that's painted for me for a long time. That included all the exterior painting too. So he did the same thing as Scott Brown, did some soffit paint. He painted soffit and fascia. He painted the front door, painted the shutters, restained the porch outside, and did a final touch-up inside for $1,650. I had my reglazing guy out to reglaze the tubs. We reglazed the tub shower combo in the one bathroom, and then the walk-in shower in the master bathroom. That was $1,400. We did have to do a trash out on this. All that junk you see in the pictures, we bought it with all that stuff. So that was $5,000 to clean the house out. He charged me a little bit of a fee, and then he ripped up all the carpets too and removed all the carpets for me. And then my flooring guy, Bruno, pulled up all the vinyl floors. Gutter guy, Tito, did gutters on this house. He didn't have to do any fascia work or anything like that. So $1,300 for 6-inch gutters, and it was a little bit longer than the other house. So we got the HVAC serviced, Jape Services. If you're from Georgia, that's Dan and Daniel Jape that used to own Reliable Heating and Air. Good for them. They sold Reliable to a big private equity company for multiple millions and millions and millions of dollars. They had a 2-year non-compete. Once their non-compete was up, they started up another HVAC company called Jape Services. And ironically, a lot of their techs that used to work for them at Reliable have now left Reliable and now go work for them at Jape. I think he's up to like 15 trucks and vans already, and he's only been in business for like a year now. Pretty funny, but good for them. I actually passed by Daniel the other day driving one of the vans. That was kind of cool to see him driving the van. But either way, Devoted Electrical Services for electrical trim out. That's Mitch. He's been my electrician for a long time. He replaced all the devices. So the receptacles, the switches, everything was replaced in the house. The cover plates, we put it all in, and he did all the light fixtures, GFI, you name it, $1,170 to do all that for me. We did a smoke remediation on this house. So they had to clean the walls. They had to do their air treatment with their ozone machine. And then they have this other machine that's like a aerosolized, like it's oh cool, my truck's ready, sweet. Aerosolized hydrogen peroxide is the best way to describe it, that clings to everything. $3,800 to do that smoke treatment to get rid of them. This would have been pretty heavily smoked in. Skirting materials and supplies, which are for $816. Skirting labor, $675. This was actually the labor for this house and the other house combined, to replace all the skirting. Engineer letter on this one, had to get an FHA certification for the foundation to be able to sell it. Final cleaning, my cleaning lady, she does She is actually the mom of one of my employees, and she does our cleaning for us. So she gives me a deal on cleaning, $360 for this size of house. And landscaping final, they did put grass seed down, they put straw down, they put pine straw down, raked everything out, all that stuff. That was $927. Forestry, mulching, and grading. This one was overgrown. So my buddy Andy with Barden Outdoors came over with his forestry mulcher on his skid steer and mulched down all the overgrowth. We brought in a truckload, a tandem load of dirt. We did some grading work, put some swales in. We dug some things out, cleaned up a bunch of trash in the back. Like we filled up two 30-yard dumpsters full of junk from the yard outside. Roots, stumps. There was a koi pond back there. We dug that up. So all that stuff, $4,200 in labor from him, and then $1,200 for the dumpsters. Septic inspection, we had to get that inspected for the sale. We ended up not having to pump it, so it would have been $550 to have it pumped, but they pulled the lid and realized that they didn't need to pump it. They said, this is just water. There's no solids in here. There's no reason to pump this, so we'll just charge you the inspection fee. I had Matthew with Under Pressure come do all my power washing. He did a roof wash, power washed everything, power washed the driveway, power washed the decks and all that stuff. $618 for all that. The mobile home parts, that's bath fixtures. They're mobile home specific parts. So we ordered those online, and hinges and whatnot. We had to get an IBTS letter on this one too, because it was missing the data plate. Miscellaneous, blah, 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 blah. Electrical fixtures, doorknobs, etc. So about all the electrical fixtures, all the light fixtures, the fans, the doorknobs, all the things. That was $2,300. Miscellaneous painting supplies. That's the trim and things he had to buy when he was fixing the walls and all that stuff. That was Raul doing that at the beginning. Miscellaneous title fees, back and forth FedEx documents, title fees from Department of Revenue, all that stuff, getting the titles retired, replacement titles, all the things, basically about $200 for all that stuff, $202. And then the final dumpster for the final just clean up and clean out, $550. We couldn't get anything smaller than a 30-yard from this particular dumpster company, so I had to pay for a 30-yard. It was only like half full, but sometimes that's what you got to do. So insurance up through $915, $734. We listed it for $280, and then we got an offer like immediately from this buyer, and his mom was the agent, so she cut her commission. Only had to pay her $3,400 in commission. I had a $500 broker fee to my broker, $326 to FMLS. I had $5,100 in interest to my private lender on this transaction. And we had, I gave the buyer $8,000 in a closing cost credit. So all in, all the final numbers, like I mentioned earlier, $100,000 buy, $2,700 closing costs, $18,000 in holding and selling costs, $56,000 in rehab costs. We sold it for $272,000. We made a net profit of $94,000. It'll be a little bit less because I don't have all the final utility bills factored in here. So maybe give or take $400 for power bills and water bills for, the 3 months. We've owned it for like 90 days, thereabouts. I think 90 days next week or something like that. We bought it on July, I want to say it was like July the 8th or something is when we bought the house. So, and then we're closing it this week. So we're closing it on the 1st. So just under 90 days we owned it. So I'll probably have $400 in utility bills. So my net profit on this will be $93,000, $900 or something like that. So great home run deal. Worked out really, really good. Like I mentioned earlier, I've got another one that we just bought in coming. I will be doing the numbers on that one. I'll be doing a walkthrough before video on that one before we get started. And I'll do a walkthrough on the end. So I'll fill you in on that one, but we just bought that one. We'll be getting started on that one this week. So thanks again, guys. I appreciate your time. I hope you have a great day. See ya. Bye.